We have Binance under increasing regulatory scrutiny for more criminal activities, and fraud being one of them. And therefore, we have the competition to Coinbase. We think it's disappearing. That's a good thing longer term for Coinbase.
Hey guys, welcome back to Library of Wealth. In her latest market update, Cathie Wood shares her perspectives on the current state of cryptocurrency and the implications involving the SEC, Binance, and Coinbase. Recent lawsuits filed by the SEC against the two largest crypto exchanges are poised to cast a chilling effect on all tokens. This, in turn, may exert pressure on these exchanges, compelling them to reconsider their operational bases and potentially seek refuge in alternative locations outside the U.S. Last week, the SEC accused Binance and Coinbase of offering unregistered securities to the general public. These lawsuits prominently underscore the persistent uncertainty surrounding the classification of crypto, stirring debates over their nature as securities or commodities. Wood believes that if the SEC emerges victorious, crypto exchanges will likely withdraw from the U.S. market. Let's get right into the latest interview with Cathie Wood, as she gives her prediction for the crypto market and discusses what's coming in the second half of 2023. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe if you enjoy the content we do here on this channel. Let's get right into the video.
And Cathie, you're still maintaining your confidence across crypto more broadly. Are you still confident in that $1 million target for Bitcoin?
Yes, actually, the more uncertainty and volatility there is in the global economies, the more our confidence increases in Bitcoin. And one of the reasons is we've just been through an inflationary scare. We think it was very much supply chain driven, and Bitcoin is a hedge against inflation. We also believe now that the bigger risk is deflation, not inflation. And why would Bitcoin do well in that circumstance? It would do well because it's an antidote to counterparty risk in the traditional financial system. On the Bitcoin blockchain, everything is transparent. It may be pseudonymous, but we can see all the transactions, all of the activity, and therefore we have a much better understanding of how little counterparty risk there is in the blockchain world. It was interesting to see the SEC sue Binance on one day and then the next day Coinbase. And they were trying to put them in the same bucket. They are not at all in the same bucket. We have two former officials of Binance US coming forward, and actually we now understand that they have been working with regulators and the government generally to help the government understand how Binance US was not separate and distinct from Binance International, and how much CZ controlled Binance US and how much of Binance's data was in China and how much commingling of funds there were. Coinbase is not accused of any of this. And it is unfortunate that the SEC took action against Coinbase the day after Binance and then seemed to muddy. Chairman Gensler, as he was on one of the major news channels, was trying to implicate Coinbase in the same way that he was implicating Binance. No, they're very different. There are questions about what's a security and about staking. Those are the two questions that Coinbase is facing and Binance is facing. But most of the other questions around Binance have nothing to do with Coinbase. What we're seeing is that the judicial and legislative branches of our government, separation of powers, are starting to weigh in on this topic. And the regulator, the SEC, is part of the executive branch appointed by the president. And as we're seeing cases go through court in the judicial system is questioning the SEC's decisions here. And so we actually think this is going to be in the courts and in legislation for perhaps years.
Cathie, we are seeing more scrutiny, whether it's from the regulatory side on the crypto industry or from the legislative side with Congress and hearings on artificial intelligence and intellectual property. At what point does more regulation, more oversight stifle innovation? And is this a concern for you?
Well, in the crypto space, and I'll just broaden it out and say the digital asset space, it's quite a concern. Innovation is leaving the shores of the United States and going elsewhere because we have a hostile regulatory regime here right now. However, as I just mentioned, in the legislature, so Congress, and in the judicial system, again, this checks and balances, I think is going to weigh in on the side of keeping innovation in the US. And I think they understand, both the judicial branch and the legislative branch, that there may be more politics at work here than real policymaking.
Wood believes the SEC's legal battle against Coinbase and Binance will define the future of cryptocurrencies. Billions of dollars worth of digital assets change hands on these platforms every day. Yet crypto, since its beginnings, has existed in a regulatory gray area, and most of the current finance rules were already set before their inception.
Cathie, obviously the exuberance over AI has been the big market narrative driver of this year. Do you think that this is the bull market driver, the idea for this decade, or is it something else? Because it was obviously big tech over the past decade, and then prior to that we had, going in on China after Lehman and Japan in the 90s. What's the next big compelling idea for you?
Well, we think innovation broadly, the 5 major innovation platforms around which we've centered our research. So multi-omic sequencing in the healthcare space, going to cure disease, robotics, energy storage, artificial intelligence, and blockchain technology. These 5 major platforms are evolving and converging. We think that artificial intelligence is the biggest catalyst to innovation. In other words, it is going to turbocharge all of those other innovation platforms. A good example is Tesla. Tesla is probably one of the biggest AI plays out there. Why? Autonomous driving is a massive AI project. And we think it is going to scale. These taxi platforms, autonomous taxi platforms, are going to scale from essentially nothing in revenue today to 8 to 10 trillion by 2030. And what does an autonomous taxi platform involve? Robots. Autonomous taxis are robots. Energy storage, they will be electric, and artificial intelligence, which will power them.
A turf war continues between the SEC and the CFTC over which agency has the power to oversee these assets and the broader sector. Gensler believes most cryptocurrencies are securities, and as such, current laws give his agency the power to regulate them. Both of these companies have resolved to fight the charges against them, and they're preparing for the long haul. However, it's not just Coinbase and Binance. The lawsuits are also threatening to create a lot of uncertainty and further erode confidence in the entire sector. What do you think about the latest interview with Cathie Wood? And what direction do you think crypto is headed in 2023? Comment down below. Thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. This is the Library of Wealth. We'll see you in the next video.